As y'all know, chat, your boy is a Star Wars and a Kanye fan. And today we got a video by King Benny Garcia. Shout out to Garcia. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The Kanye is Anakin Skywalker theory. I kind of know where this theory is going, but not really. So let's
I know
get
I told
into
my
it.
gym teacher freshman year, like, man, I ain't coming to gym class no more. I'm finna be signed this year. She gonna come to me senior year, like, yo,
I'm
what's up
assuming
with
it's
that
gonna be
record
like
deal?
when Kanye crashing out. That's his Darth Vader moment.
Ha 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 ha.
Kanye West was once one of the most beloved figures in hip-hop. His story was that of a fairy tale and something that made you feel confident that at the end of the day, good overcomes bad.
I see good things about Hitler also.
In the last couple of years, the story of Kanye West has become corrupted.
He turned into
A
Vader.
man that let his shadow overtake his once joyful spirit. With the fairy tale
Bro,
that
that
once
fit,
was
the
the story
crazy
of
fit.
Kanye becoming something much more sinister. It became
Hold up, chat. My bad. Just gotta check y'all good. Yeah. Y'all good.
Story of Anakin Skywalker.
You underestimate
That made
my
me.
power.
Oh yes.
So for a little bit of context, last month was my first time experiencing the world of Star Wars.
Damn.
Or should I say galaxy. I watched episode 4, 5, and 6, then I watched episode 1, 2, and 3. And even though I was enthused by how they pulled off some of the more futuristic aspects of the filmmaking in the first 3, there was one character that I really became enamored with.
Darth Vader.
Throughout
I
the
love it,
original
though.
trilogy, there was no other character of which I wanted to see more of. I wanted to understand how this guy became this guy and what causes him to snap. And obviously they allude to it, but I wanted to know what made Anakin Skywalker become Darth Vader. On the other hand, as I thought about video ideas and Kanye West came to mind, I began toying around with the idea of the moment in which Kanye West became Ye. And to be honest with you, I struggled. Unsurprisingly, Kanye has always been a bit of a controversial figure, to say the least.
Coming out and manifesting is crazy.
Sure, the story of Kanye West.
Kanye has always had them crash out moments.
You also had to ignore a lot of the troubling tendencies of Kanye. Truthfully, to pinpoint the moment where Kanye becomes engulfed in rage and hatred and attention-seeking seemed almost impossible. So I began listening through Kanye's discography in search of an answer, and then I found the answer I was looking for.
But if they ever flip sides like Anakin, you would sell everything, including the mannequin.
Okay, it wasn't an answer I was looking for. It did make me realize that the best to understand why things happen in real life is...
He lost his Padme. He lost it. Kanye lost his Padme. Who is Kim? That's literally when he crashed out and became Darth Vader. That's when he became Ye. Oh my god. Oh, yeah. This dude cooked by saying Kanye is Anakin. He cooked. I'm not gonna lie.
To dissect art. And just like I had become enamored with what made Anakin Skywalker Darth Vader, I was going to find out how Kanye West became Ye. After all, art, especially art that is consumed by children, is just people talking about real life in a simplified way. And honestly, the story of Anakin and the story of Kanye West is...
Chat, I ever tell y'all I want to get like a graduation bear tattoo. I don't know where, how, and which one, but I'm trying to get one of these, you know what I'm saying?
Story only separated by 1,000 galaxies, or however many galaxies separates the fucking Star Wars galaxies and this one. But before we establish the stories of Anakin Skywalker and Kanye West, I do think it's important to understand that above everything else, the driving factor for both Anakin and Kanye,
is this Kanye documentary still on Netflix or
everything that they do, is love and wearing their hearts on their sleeves. They also both have metal parts in their bodies, so who knows? Maybe the metal is toxic. Anyways, without understanding that Kanye and Anakin's
the metal
is
made
a
them
bit
evil?
Empty, or I guess hollow, because it almost seems ridiculous for someone to turn to the dark side until you actually understand who they are as a person. But to understand what I mean, let's go back to the very beginning. Our story starts in a place not too distant from Chicago, in Tatooine, where a young slave by the name of Anakin Skywalker lived. And Anakin's early life is low-key a mystery, because Anakin is basically Star Wars Jesus and has no dad. Even his place of birth is unknown, because according to Anakin in episode 1, him and his mom
Last
moved
call
when he
for
was only 3
alcohol.
years old
Wait.
because they were sold off in slavery.
How long have you been here?
Since I was very little. 3, I think.
It's Anakin's time in slavery that
Damn.
would develop a deep connection to his mom, a connection that characterizes a young Anakin Skywalker
Shout
as
out
the
to
person that
Shmi.
he is. And I mean, think about it like this. This kid turns away the chance of being a free person and would rather spend his life in slavery next to his mom. That's how deep their connection is. On the other hand of our story was a young Kanye West
Anakin
born
like
in
me.
Atlanta, Georgia, to a dad by the name of Ray West, and more importantly, a mom by the name of Donda West. And though Kanye would live with his mom and dad for the first few years of his life, at the age of 3, Kanye and his mom would move to Chicago following a divorce between Donda West and Ray West. This move would cause Kanye to develop a deep love for his mom that would remain unrivaled for the rest of his life. We're talking about the only person that would encourage Kanye to be creative, the only person that allowed Kanye West to be Kanye West.
Yes,
Before that,
sir.
Kanye loved Donda more than he could possibly love anybody throughout his life. Back in Tatooine, Anakin finds his ticket out of slavery by way of Qui-Gon Jinn, which, as far as I understand, he is one of the greatest Jedi Masters to have ever done it. Which,
Top
for those
three,
who don't know, a
low-key
Jedi
top
Master is
three.
the highest rank that one can achieve in the
I'll say top 3 because if we just talking about what a Jedi is supposed to like personify, Qui-Gon's one of them.
Jedi Order, which is the blue lightsaber people, or green. It can also be green. But please, to the Star Wars nerds that are out there watching this video, if you can leave a comment, like kind of explaining it more in detail, I would appreciate it. But while you're at it, if you like hip-hop, you should definitely subscribe to a Star Wars video on a hip-hop channel.
Ooh,
but hopefully YouTube blesses you with the algorithm.
Subscribe.
Anyway,
this might be a regular.
Anakin
we might,
out of slavery and brings him along as
might
he
react
believes
to.
that Anakin may be the chosen one, aka Star Wars Jesus, and the guy who apparently restores balance to the universe. Though Jin is Anakin's father figure, he ends up dying at the end of episode 1, which leaves Anakin under the mentorship of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Ben Kenobi as some might call him. Which, as the story continues to unfold, Obi-Wan Kenobi essentially becomes Anakin Skywalker's older brother. Or at least that's the kind of mentorship that he leads with. And by the beginning of episode 2, Attack of the Clones,
but Anakin
a
needed a
has
father.
Elapsed between the last time we saw Anakin and now. And we see an Anakin that's older, more confident, more sure in who he is. But more importantly, we see Anakin encounter the only person that can rival his love for his mother in Padme.
Yes, sir. Natalie Portman, duh.
What?
An angel.
Which, as I mentioned before, is the overwhelming characteristic that defines who Anakin Skywalker is. He lets his emotions control him. And because of that,
Anakin wears his emotions on his sleeve, boy.
That won't matter as we continue with this video. But perhaps we should catch on to what that Kanye West kid is up to. Well, Kanye is now much older and much more confident in his skill. And though for the most part people have neglected him as an artist, his skill in
Wait, hold up. Did I just throw up the big eye, the big Illuminati?
Future mentor and older brother figure in Jay-Z. And in this adventure, Kanye finds the one thing that might rival his love for his mom: fame. Almost more than anything, when you think about Kanye, you think about this person that is obsessed with being the best that he can be. And being obsessed with being the best that you can be means being obsessed with fame. And though some people might see that as a strength, a lot of other people might see that as a weakness. But I promise you that regardless of where you stand in this whole dynamic, it will matter much later on. Similar to Kanye, Anakin is also showing a lot of potential that keeps getting dismissed by the Jedi Order. But regardless of how great Anakin Skywalker might be, there is one thing he can't control.
His glove.
Donda West died earlier this month after complications from cosmetic surgery.
Wait, that's how Donda died? I did not know that.
For Anakin, the death of his mom could have been avoidable. He blames himself for not being strong enough to have saved his mother. He blames his newfound journey, and his strong emotion and love for
Oh
his
shit, the
mom
Stan
leads him to
people get
understand that he
murked.
must not only become great, but that he must become the greatest Jedi the world has ever seen in order to...
I killed them. I slaughtered them. The mothers and the children. They're monsters. Or whatever he says. I haven't watched episode 2 in so long.
stop the people
But
he
it's
loves
something
from
along
dying.
those lines,
On the
you
other
know what I'm
side of the
saying?
coin, Kanye also blames himself for the death of his mother. His newfound journey and love for fame had put his mom on the spotlight, and Kanye believed that the cosmetic surgery that ultimately killed his mother was his fault and the fault of the spotlight that was beamed on her. Kanye believed that if he had never moved to LA, the death of Donda West would have been avoided. And in his strong grief for the death of Donda West, Kanye understands that he must keep her name alive.
I appreciate everything, and I know you're really proud of me right now, and I know you wouldn't want me to stop, and you want me to be the #1 artist in the world. And mama, all I'm gonna do is keep making you proud. We run this.
It is at this point that we see the first sign of our heroes perhaps becoming monsters. We see them lose themselves a little bit. And for many, they might refer back to this moment as the moment where they cracked. Anakin Skywalker murdered a village full of people, and Kanye West's music was just never the same afterwards. However, both Anakin Skywalker and Kanye West were able to fill that void, if ever so slightly, with the thing that they most loved. And because of that love, they were able to become greater than they ever were before. By the beginning of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and Obi-Wan are damn near equals. Anakin has reached his potential physically and mentally, at least in terms of battle. He understands his limitations as well as the power he holds. On the other hand, Kanye West had also reached a new level with the release of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Additionally, Kanye's big brother figure and mentor in Jay-Z wasn't really a mentor anymore. He was a peer, with the both of them looking eye to eye in terms of critical and commercial success. Kanye West was on top of the world, and it was hard to see how he would ultimately fall. However, with each subsequent day, it became harder and harder to ignore that Kanye West was slipping.
Doctor, sir, is that correct? Yes, correct. I'm just calling for myself on the request if we can have some police backup, because I don't think the paramedics, I think he definitely is going to need to be hospitalized.
As Kanye was nearing the big 4-0, the clock was ticking for his time on the spotlight. He wasn't going to be the most famous rapper forever, and Drake was slowly ascending to the top spot. Back in a galaxy far, far away, Anakin Skywalker also saw the writing on the wall as it pertained to the person he loved the most in the whole galaxy as he began to dream about the eventual downfall of Padme. And even though Anakin had matured greatly,
one day I wanna lay down like I did. So someday, someday, I wanna rest on a Sunday like I did. Someday, I wanna Sunday. Hey, what y'all know about that, chat?
Emotions were still his blind spot. The same could be said for Kanye West, who by 2016 had fallen out of the top spot as the most famous rapper. And though for most people they hadn't completely seen Kanye turn to the quote-unquote dark side, the cracks were appearing and they were more difficult to ignore each day. His Life of Pablo tour was a PR disaster, and furthermore, he drastically changed some of his most impactful relationships. It almost became clear to anybody that was objective that Kanye was closer and closer to the dark side. And the same could be said about Anakin Skywalker. Having been separated from Obi-Wan while he was on a mission, Palpatine, who I just realized I haven't mentioned at all, but basically the biggest, baddest person in the Star Wars universe, the ultimate evil, if you will. He offers Anakin an offer that he cannot refuse. If he joined the dark side, he could teach him how to keep Padme alive. On the other hand, the dark side also tempted Kanye by showing him that the dark side had the attention and fame that Kanye yearned for. After all, Trump was the most powerful celebrity in the world.
Shut the fuck. Trump? Oh, ain't no way they just said no. Is this dude cooking? Oh my gosh, this is him slaughtering the children in the temple. Oh my god.
World, And that too could
Wow.
be Kanye. And with a massive
Trump
5-album rollout just around the
is,
corner,
wow.
Kanye finally gave in.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
Many Kanye fans were left distraught, lost
Bro,
for words.
this
The
shit was a
betrayal they
wild
felt that
era.
Kanye had committed. Had his love for
Is a
fame
choice
led
is
him
crazy.
down a path without recovery? Or were the signs always there? Some people held out
Palpatine.
hope though. Maybe Kanye was just being duped by his own thoughts. Maybe his emotions had gotten the best of him. Similarly, a lot of people thought the same of Anakin. Had Anakin Skywalker been tricked into killing Mace Windu, who I also haven't mentioned, but this is Samuel L. Jackson.
Ooh,
He's
who's
kind of
Mace
just
Windu?
Samuel L. Jackson, but he puts down Anakin and he doesn't curse. He also has a purple lightsaber, which is pretty cool. Anyways, with Palpatine having offered him a solution to save Padme, surprise, surprise, Anakin joined forces with the bad guy. At this point, both Kanye and Anakin had found themselves deep in the hole to the dark side, relying on their instinct, their love, their own emotion rather than logic and reasoning. This path for Anakin meant killing every Jedi he came across, blinded by love and a lifetime full of anger and hate. And
Master
for Kanye,
Anakin, they're
his
everywhere.
last chance at being great, one last time. He was gonna say and do whatever got him attention and prove people wrong once again, as he did back in 2004. Essentially
Damn.
destroying whatever belief and logic and philosophy that he had built up over the last 2 decades.
You turned her against me! You have done that yourself!
Peak.
By the end of the trilogy,
Peak.
Anakin had turned to the dark side out of love for Padme. However, failed to realize that in his pursuit to save Padme from eternal doom, Anakin had failed himself, and more importantly, Padme, who would ultimately die of a broken heart after seeing Anakin Skywalker turn to the dark side.
Peak, chap.
And as
Peak.
for himself, Anakin's rage basically caused him to crash and burn, leading to the death
like
of Anakin Skywalker and the rise of Darth Vader.
I hate you!
The other side of the coin reads almost like a prophecy with this in mind. The constant search for greatness had fooled Kanye West.
Bro, that
as
fucking
his
video
drive
is
for
always
fame
fucking
made him
fried.
essentially forget what made him famous in the first place. Barely had a fan base that loved him, failing to recognize that the fan base that he now carries isn't a fan base built on loving Kanye West. A fan base that has essentially forced itself to differentiate Kanye West from Ye. And honestly, in my journey to search for the
Kanye West
moment
and
in
Ye,
which Kanye
two different
West
beings.
became
I'm
Ye,
convinced now.
I realized that it's almost impossible to pinpoint a moment where someone flipped side. I hope to use the story of Anakin Skywalker as a frame of reference of finding out how good becomes evil, but I ultimately realized that good doesn't
die here or
Anakin
live
believed that he was right,
long
and
enough to see
Kanye
yourself become the
believes that
villain
he's
type
right.
shit.
And regardless of the fact that the idea of Kanye West, the underdog, the lovable guy, is dead, and the fact that I find myself no longer supporting Kanye West, I came to realize that no one moment made Anakin or Kanye West turn, but it was a collection of moments. As after all, a bad person is just a good person with a dark twisted fantasy. By the way, I know you're wondering, alright, so if you don't support Kanye, why is he in your outro? This is the idea of Kanye when I made this shit. I fuck with the idea of that guy. Anyway.
Chat, hold up. These might be some fire videos to react to, chat. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up, chat. We might have just found a new channel.
Everyone subscribe to Stacks right now.